You see the narcissism of our present culture, not just in Congress, not just in the White House. You see it perhaps most clearly in the Amber Heard trial. Amber Heard was out there. She just lost this defamation case that Johnny Depp brought against her. She made all these claims. Johnny Depp beat her. He was abusive. And then she was caught on tape in many cases, and certainly with the testimony of witnesses, having lied. And she lost that case. Now she's going out and playing victim again. Even the left-wing media are calling her out on it in some cases. She was speaking to Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show, and Guthrie just asked this really basic question. Hold on, you're telling me that all the evidence, all the testimony, everybody who has some knowledge about this, it's all just wrong? They're all just lying?
Even somebody who is sure I'm deserving of all this hate and vitriol, even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation. You cannot tell me that you think that this has been fair.
I absolutely can tell you that. I didn't even watch that much of the trial, but everything I saw suggests this was in fact much more fair than many trials and trials in court and trials in the press that we've seen in recent years. A lot of evidence was presented, and all of the evidence suggested that Amber Heard was lying. Savannah Guthrie pushes her on this point. She says, wait, hold on, so you're saying that everything that came out against you was just BS?
But then there are other times, there's another tape where you're taunting him and saying, oh, tell the world, Johnny Depp, I, a man, am the victim of domestic violence.
20-second clips or the transcripts of them are not representative of even the 2 hours or the 3 hours that those clips are excerpt from.
Could your side have just put the whole 3 hours in then?
I'm not a lawyer. As I testified to, I was talking in those recordings as a person in extreme amount of emotional, psychological, and physical distress.
He says he never hit you. He never. Is that a lie?
Yes, it is.
What about the witnesses who said they have seen you instigate physical violence?
I've seen firsthand how people will file rank and support the person they depend on.
Did they all come in and lie in court?
I am not here to call any of his witnesses any names. I'm here to just kind of talk about it from what it felt like for me as a person who sat there.
There it is. There is the giveaway right there at the end, because she's just deny, deny, deny the whole time. That old Italian phrase in New York, deny till you die. She's just keeping it up. And then so Guthrie brings in this question of objective reality. She's saying, okay, well, if what you say is true, Amber, then everyone who testified against you is either extremely mistaken or more likely lying. But Amber Heard doesn't want to go that far because it's absurd. And so she says, no, I'm not saying they're lying. I'm just telling you what it felt like for me. See, now it's no longer what it was, what it did, what the reality is. Now it's just, this is what it felt like for me. Me, 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 me. It's all about me and my feelings. She is so insistent upon her own will, on her own desires, on what she wants, that she is totally ignoring truth and reality. She's just neglecting it. She doesn't really care what it is. And when forced to confront that, she says, forget about the truth for a second. Just talk about me and my feelings. I want to talk about confused young women. There was a viral clip from one of the pride parades around the country of some poor young women who were dressed up in all sorts of weird LGBT, the baby blue and the baby pink, purple, and all the rainbow and the trans and the this and the that. And an interviewer just came out and asked them on the street, hey, what does this mean for you? Why are you here today? Who are you?
I'm gay.
What age did you know that you were gay?
I think at like 10 I knew that I think at 10, but I wasn't clear on my gender.
Yeah, I think it was around like 10 as well when I started questioning if I was bi. And then since then it was kind of like a a slippery slope because I was like, am I bi, omni, lesbian? And then I kind of like came to the point, and then now recently I've been like, am I pan? But then I think now I'm starting to realize that I'm queer. But yeah, it started around 10. It wasn't like fully formed, but I guess like that's when I realized, wait, that's a possibility. Yeah, I am genderqueer, transmasc, and queer.
What's transmasc?
Transmasc is like people under the non-binary umbrella identifying like or presenting masc.
Masculine?
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm trans and my sexuality is unlabeled. I use he, him pronouns.
Yeah, and I use he, they pronouns.
He, him, he, they, transmasc. I was gay, then I realized I'm more pan-trans. I don't know, a little bit bi, trans, pan. Wada bing bong. This video was put up by Savannah Hernandez, and then her account got nuked for apparently no reason, but you can still find it somewhere on the internet. Apparently, you can find it on this show too. We were lucky to get it there. It tells you so much about the culture. And do I feel bad for these young women? I do. I genuinely feel bad for these young women. Do I think that the culture and the society is leading people to these sorts of disordered and destructive sexual ideologies? For sure. Of course, there's huge encouragement everywhere. You can't find a corporate logo this month that doesn't have a bunch of rainbow colors urging people of every age, all the way down to 2 years old and 3 years old, to pretend to be the opposite sex and screw up their bodies and their lives. So yeah, there's a big part of that. But this goes to the individual as well. It's an individual problem. And it's not just with that confused girl or the confused girl next to her, and it's not just with the LGBT and the rainbows, and it's really a totally pervasive problem for all of us. And the problem is narcissism. Do you think there is 1 second of the day that those two young women aren't thinking about themselves? The way that they talk, well, I was really focused on myself and the trans mask, and then I realized, no, I'm a little bit more of a pan today. And then I woke up and, I wasn't feeling like a pan man. I was feeling like a pot and a plate. I was a little bit more of a trans, bi, this, that. There's a whole world out there, darling. Look at it. You look up, you can see the birds in the sky. You can see the fish in the water. You can read a book. That's great. You can read what about a great novel? How about you open up Jane Austen? That'll be really interesting. Or go watch a documentary. Or just, I don't know, observe other people and stop thinking about yourself. Because if you think about yourself all the time, you're going to drive yourself insane, which is what has happened. To try to cure narcissism, egotism, the self-absorption, to try to cure that, you don't need to think less of yourself. The whole point of Pride Month, so they say, is that you shouldn't feel bad about yourself. You should feel really good about yourself. You shouldn't think of yourself in a low way. You should think of yourself in this really high, exalted way. But the solution here is not to think less of yourself. The solution is think of yourself less. Just think of other things beyond you. Think a little bit less of your desires and your appetites and your wants, and start thinking about objective reality. And maybe, dare I suggest, think about your duties and your obligations and your roles in your family and in your community and in your country. Think about that. It will cure a lot of those problems. I'm glad you like that clip. Now, ding, ring, wada bing bong. Make sure you hit that bell and subscribe. You will get all the notifications. Then head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe there too to The Michael Knowles Show. Leave a 5-star review. We'll see you next time.